you for having me for your meeting. I'm pleased and flattered, and it's great. I started out my career as a art director for publications as a graphic designer, and as my career went on, I was art director for a couple of publications, and this was before everything was online. So anyway, that was back in the days of newspapers and magazines. Old days. And anyway, I after about 17 years, I decided that I wanted to start painting. And so I we were living in my husband and I were living in Hood River, and it was so beautiful and inspiring here that I felt like I wanted to capture it. And we were also um, I was fascinated with plein air, and we went to several shows, like the art show in Carmel that you mentioned. And my husband is from the East Coast, so we also went to Lyme, Connecticut, too, and we would visit there a couple of times a year. And they had some great plein air shows there also. And so there wasn't that much going on here at the time as far as plein air goes. And so I decided that after trying to talk several people into starting a show and realizing that no one even knew what plein air was and they couldn't pronounce it, and so I decided I was going to have to start it myself, a plein air show here. Although I'd never started any event before in my life, so it was a really fun, big learning experience, and it's still going. And we have the show every year at Maryhill Museum of Art now. And I was telling Linda and Rick before we started that we've had it in the late summer every year, and then next year we're going to start having it in spring. So that'll be a fun change, and you guys can apply to it for next year. This year's participants have already been selected, and so they will be announced, I believe, the first week of April. And so we'll be looking forward to that show in August. And then the 301 Gallery, where I live in Hood River, it's at 301 Oak Street, right in the middle of downtown. It's a beautiful old bank building. I don't know if you've ever seen the Butler Bank building. It was designed by a famous architect, A.E. Doyle. He designed several buildings in Portland also. And it's an unbelievable space. It's so spacious and high ceilings. It's I think it was meant to be an art gallery actually. So we've got a collective going there, and 16 members, and I'm on the management committee for that art gallery, and we'll be having a pre-plein air show in July. But you all are welcome to come out and visit the gallery in Hood River. And I also have work in the Attic Gallery in Vancouver, Washington, very close to you guys, and Rental Sales Gallery in downtown Portland. So I guess you guys are here to see a demo. So how about if we get started?
Yes.
Okay. I have done quite a few really small paintings. 6 by 6 became very popular a few years ago, and I also do larger paintings. And I thought for the purpose of the demo, I should probably start a larger painting. I don't know if we'll get finished or not, but if that's okay with you guys, start a larger one because I thought it
Yeah.
might be easier for you to see with the Zoom screen. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay, because I can also do a smaller one, but I don't know. We can switch back and forth. So this is my studio, and this is where I usually have a reference photo. And so this is a photo looking west from Hood River. It's a location called the Hook, and it's just north of downtown. downtown Hood River. You know, downtown Hood River is very small. It's about 6 blocks. And so anyway, it's like 2 minutes from downtown. So you can go down there and paint and see what's going on in the gorge at any time. It's free. It's just a kind of a big open space down there. And so I go down there a lot, take photos of the sunsets, and just check it out all times a day, all the time. And I paint other places all over the gorge also. So what I usually tone the canvas, and actually this is a wood panel, and I've been having wood panels custom built by a guy, a woodworker in Stevenson, Washington. His name is Eli Lewis, and he does a beautiful job. It's actually hard to start a painting on his panels because it's like painting on a piece of furniture. They're so
Mm.
beautiful. This one I've gessoed it and put some I put some just toned it with mineral spirits and a little bit of this. It's called brown pink. It's made by Gamblin. It's got some nice warmth to it. It's kind of transparent. And this panel that I had Eli custom make, it's about 2 inches deep, and the sides are made of alder wood.
Ooh.
Alder is a native wood for the Pacific Northwest, so I like the idea of that. And Eli told me if I just put some teak oil on the sides, it comes out to be a great finish.
Hmm.
So I was taping off the sides at first, but that just seemed kind of redundant, and it's hard to peel the paint off. I mean, to peel the tape off. So what I do now is I just go ahead and paint, and sometimes I get some on the sides, but I have a orbital sander, and I when I'm done and it's dry, I just kind of lightly sand the edges and get all the paint off, and then I can treat the sides with teak oil. So I think that's a really nice contemporary look. And so, generally, to start painting, I start with a horizon line. Um, when I was in junior high, I started. Uh, we had the choice to take either home ec or drafting, and so I chose drafting. I'd much rather play with pencils and rulers than Uh, I felt like I could cook well enough in junior high, so anyway, that's where we learn to do perspective, and I've never lost that. I've always been grateful that I had that training in starting that young. So it's really stayed with me all this time. So when I'm starting a painting, I'm trying to decide if where my horizon is going to be. Do I want to start the water down low, down here? Do I want to start the water up here, have big water, little sky, or have big sky, little water, but probably not right in the center? So I think the water isn't that it it doesn't have too much happening right here. And also a lot of times I might go look at a different photo for the clouds. So I think the light is really good on these trees. And on the island here and on all the hills. It looks like it was taken about 10 a.m. in the morning. So that's when the light comes. That's when the sun comes up, and the sun is about right over here. You can't see it, but the sun is coming down, and it's hitting these trees and creating a shadow here, a small shadow here, lighting up this area here, lighting up Wells Island. This is an island, really well, and it's lit. The thing I like about 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning is it's lighting up the south side and also the north side of the Columbia River. So different times of day will give you different effects. So I'm going to just go ahead and just kind of try to put in a horizon line here, and I can change it if I want. If I decide I'm just mixing a little mineral spirits with the little bit of the brown pink paint, and that's a little too thin. It's kind of running. Sometimes that happens. So that looks like it's straight. And so then I think I want to make wells a little bit closer. So I'm going to exaggerate a little bit and bring it down here. And I don't know if you've noticed, but whenever you take photographs of mountains, um, something about the lens, something about the camera makes the mountains look smaller than you feel like they are. So quite often I'll make the mountains actually larger than they are, take up more of the space than you see in the photo. So I'm just kind of sketching in some of the trees. It looks like there's a tall tree there. There's some smaller kind of bush things here, and then a clump of big trees. You've got a shadow underneath those things, so I'll just kind of do that. And so then, really, the exciting part is the mountains coming down, looking down the gorge. So let's see how we could frame that. I painted this view a lot of times, and every time it's, you can paint it differently. So I'm just kind of guessing about right here, and can move that over a little bit. So I'm kind of thinking that's about right for this painting. And next day you can do something totally different. So one of my landmarks is this point right here. How close is this to that point? How close is it ahead? Is it above that point for these mountains, for the South Mountains over here? Where does it line up with these mountains? So it looks like it kind of lines up with these mountains right here. And so, let's see, lines up with those mountains. So, and I'm just trying to get the gesture of the mountains to look like this, to look like my reference photo.
Kathleen, is that acrylic you're using to block that in, or is it oil?
No, that's a great question. I'm using oil,
Okay,
but certainly could use acrylic. You wouldn't have as much open time to change it if you did that, but you certainly could.
okay.
I I haven't done that. I guess I've thought of that, but I haven't actually done that. So this is Mitchell Point. This is kind of a fun thing that gets lit up in the gorge. Right now it's just kind of whitish looking. It can get very orange, and a lot of times I like kind of painting it a little bit more orange, like I remember that it has been in the past. So I like seeing that little bit of, being familiar with the landscape is really helpful. So that's there, and then that ends up being about there. I could have made that a little tall. I'm not quite sure. I guess it's all right. And then I want to get in a little bit of this dark because I think adds a nice contrast to things. Kind of lets you know that you're at the hook. The hook is a kind of a popular place where they go to learn to do kayaking or to watch the sunset or to uh, learn to do different wind sports, like um, windsurfing or I don't know, just different sports, wind wing. There's all kinds of new wind sports coming along now. So now I have it kind of blocked in. This comes. I pulled this down a little bit more. You can kind of see right here. This is ahead of all of this. It looks like it's in front of it. And Wales Island is much ahead of that. So also one of the things about blocking in with oil paint is that I I use the Viva paper towels and I make little pieces of it and I can fold it over and make kind of like erasers with it that are like if I just had like a bunch of paper towel here, a whole paper towel, it would just like be a blobby mess. But I can make a nice, neat little eraser here to further refine my drawing that I made. Let's see, what did I do here? Got this. And I can indicate also my shadow side a little bit. One thing that is really great for kind of blocking in shadows is a little bit of French ultramarine and this brown pink. The ultramarine blue gives it a you can alter it. You can either make it very blue and it I don't know if you can see that. You can see how dark it is. But it makes a nice dark. Do you all have iPads? Do you all use iPads for reference?
Yes, sometimes.
So,
Yes.
I like using my iPad for a reference for photo reference a lot. So this kind of goes like that. So what the objective now is to get the darkest darks in and try to make kind of a game plan for making the painting work. How many people do oil painting?
I do.
Okay.
I think most of us do.
So the rest are acrylic?
No, I'm colored pencil.
Oh,
Pen and
okay.
ink.
Oh,
My
nice.
iPad's my brain. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Here.
do acrylic and mixed media.
Oh, okay.
Acrylic.
That's so. If you squint at this, this whole area is darker, but I mean, you kind of have to start somewhere with getting darks in. So, let's see, French ultramarine there. I have another little tree. I'm not super worried about that, but if it works out, I can put it there and have those little trees. And so again, I can take my bit of paper towel and so I like that shadow there, and I haven't quite got it in the right place, so I need to kind of get that shadow in there. Doesn't have to be exact, but I just want to have an indication of it. darkness to the right of that. And this is a little too far to the right, so I want for that shadow to be like that. And this is light. And then, oops. Okay, so I've got that kind of indicated. I just don't want those edges to be too hard. Down, up. I like the way the paper towel kind of makes its own strokes. And I think I want this piece of land to be a little bit thinner. And so the nice thing about the paper towel is I can fold it over and kind of refine things a lot so that it starts to kind of look like it has some shape. The painting has some shape to it. I can correct the horizon line. And here's where the perspective comes in. When I do water or when I do clouds, you kind of see it here. When I teach my class, I haven't taught a class in 3 years, but because of this COVID thing, but when I was teaching my class, I would try to explain perspective to people who never took a class in perspective in their lives. So I would tell them uh, perspective is kind of like X's and Z's. Um, you, you kind of start with the horizon line back here, and and you kind of draw X's and Z's coming coming from the horizon, and it instantly gives you a feeling of going back.
I didn't remember your key, so I couldn't get your guidance.
Oh, okay. I can get it later. I'm watching this big paint.
Can you guys see that? Should I make it darker just so you can see it?
No, we can see that.
We can see that.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can see how it's starting to draw you in now, just from really light lines. So that I think that's pretty specific about my work. Is that I really love to see the perspective that that I took it into consideration and I created it, and it to me it just kind of defines the landscape. So that tree, I think I want to move it a little bit this way. You can put the trees wherever you want them to go. I think it's the little dark shapes that give it a little mystery, and it's like, well, what's in there? It's all dark there. And you see how I have confusing lines here? My eraser. I can make this sketch start to come together. can see how the ultramarine and the and the brown paint kind of makes almost, it's kind of like a dark, it's not black. It can go really blue, or it can go really warm. So I'm gonna have to erase some of that. And let's see. So I can refold my paper towel. So the trees are going up. So I want to have some kind of strokes that look like it's going up. Can you guys see that all right?
Yes.
Okay, so as far as value goes, you guys can see that this gets lighter and these get lighter here. If you looked at these hills, they would look just like this up close. So the distance really, really lightens everything. Can I get a little drink of water?
Of course. When did you switch from canvas to wood panels?
Well, totally, probably about 2 or 3 years ago. I just really I don't like the canvas bouncing back at me.
Ah, okay. Got it.
And now we've got these panel makers, and Eli is so great at making panels. I can give you information if you want to.
Yes,
have panels
please.
That would be
Yes.
great. That would be great if we could have his information.
Okay. Yeah, of course. He would love it. He's a professional woodworker, and his wife is an artist, and he started doing panels for her, and then people started saying, "Well, can you make a panel for me too, Eli?" And so he's got a business going now.
Excellent. And where is he located?
He's located close by to you guys. He's in Stevenson, Washington.
Stevenson. Okay.
There. And let's see, this kind of has this shape. And I like using different edges of my brush to get different variety. So let's see, okay, the little Mitchell Point. They're doing some kind of construction there to make an expanded hiking trail or something, or some kind of Columbia Scenic Highway trail. Okay, this one's kind of got too much stuff on it, too much paint. So it's time to throw it away. So I start with a new one. I just tip the corner in. So there's the little Mitchell Point. Oops, I keep hitting my hand on that. And this little thing is pretty dark. I don't want to make it too big because I want it to look like it's way far away, way back there. Let's see. Okay. All right. See, that actually would look, if I just move it up a tiny bit, about 1/8 of an inch, it will look like it's behind this part. I should have sent you guys a picture of my reference photo. Maybe that would have helped.
This is good.
Okay, good. Now I'm going to do the mountains that are back there, farther away. I think, maybe it would make my life easier if I kind of tend towards the French ultramarine color. And I'm not going to just like totally wash my brush out, but got to keep it really thin for the underpainting. And if I just make it kind of bluer than the things in the front, maybe that will help me remember to push those values way down. It's almost as light as the sky in my photo. It's almost part of the sky. It's got a lot of the sky color in those mountains. So I want for it to be kind of bluish, just to kind of get me started in the right direction. With with my paintings, I kind of try to stick to a kind of a memory of the place. Uh, I don't want to get into too specific because I'm going after the memory of the place. How how you remember it, how it made you feel to see it. So sketching it in is kind of like a roadmap to know where the shapes are. Keep in mind what your values are going to be, how light, kind of a plan, so that you don't just feel like you're kind of stabbing in the dark to try to get a painting. Put a little more ultramarine in there. I think that's kind of an interesting shape right there. And one thing with the with this format, the 24 by 24, it's you do have to kind of possibly compress it a little bit to get in enough information to feel like you're at the place. And again, I'm see the lines that are kind of going this direction. That kind of makes me feel like the mountain's coming at me. Again, that perspective kind of incorporating into the whole thing. That's really dark, but I'm gonna lighten it because that's very light. It's actually really light. Okay, so I have kind of a plan now. Can you guys see see it? See the plan?
Absolutely,
Yes.
absolutely.
And then come in together. Oops. See, my paper towel's too dirty. And if I if I was at this point and I said, well, I just don't I changed my mind. I don't like the way this is going. You know, I want to start over with something else. Um, you can just completely erase the whole thing if you want to. I mean, you can. I like the way this is going, so I don't want to erase it, but you can, and you can see that I'm like I could take it back to just about where we started, really, if I wanted to. I did let the toning on the canvas dry before we started.
And that was toned with the brown pink
Yes, the brown pink.
and thinned way down,
And way down, yes.
way down. Okay,
Brown pink is kind of transparent
okay,
anyway, so it lends itself well to that.
thank you.
Let's see. Maybe I'll just for reference. Maybe I'll take a picture of it at this point in case. I don't know. Sometimes I do too. Because sometimes people just kind of like to see where you start. So now what I can do is I can start to think about, now I've got the drawing in, so I can start to think about really addressing the values. How dark, how light, and when do I start putting in color?
Kathleen, when you paint color in, do you usually use palette knives or do you work with a brush more?
Um, I work with a brush more, but it kind of depends if I'm just not getting big enough areas covered, I can use a palette knife and get some big areas of color in.
Okay.
Another thing I could do right now is if I felt like I wanted to get some clouds in there, I could. Let's see what I've got here. Whoops, that's not my notes. I could kind of put some clouds in from a different photo. It generally works better if I get my cloud photos from a cloudy day at the at my location. So this is out by Maryhill, but I like those big puffy clouds in the blue sky. So so I can look for a photo, but see this kind of clouds. That's not really what I'm looking for right here. It's just too kind of mushy. I like that more defined cloud right there. This is a great picture of the colors of the gorge, though. Kind of like that. That kind of purple to blue.
Wait,
That's
wait.
pretty great. Yeah, maybe I should use that as a reference for my color. That is a gorge cloud. It's not looking straight down the gorge, but I can kind of, I could kind of imagine that that's like that. So I can just take a little, I'm just going to take some cobalt blue, make it really thin. And I could just kind of see how it looks. So again, perspective. So if you look at these clouds, they are actually in perspective. This one's behind that, behind all the rest. This one's in front. This one's more in front. And they're all kind of coming together like that. So if I wanted to start, I could do the really big one up front, kind of make it kind of zoom down like that, and then kind of zoom over here. Kind of do like that. And then go off over here, and it has a smaller one kind of underneath it. And an even smaller one underneath that. And way back there, something. So, I don't know if that's just too much stuff or it's kind of fun. I do like that blue sky with the clouds. It starts with dark blue and it goes down to that light blue. I think that's really fun. Seems like that's a little overly pointy. I don't know. So, so I could do that. Can you see the kind of the perspective lines in both the water and in the clouds?
Yes.
Mhm.
I think it gives it more of a feeling of you're there, you know? So, I don't know, we might as well try, right? Might as well try a cloud. It's a demo. Why not, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So, let's see. Okay, now I think, let's see. What do we want to start with? A lot of times I just start with my favorite part, whatever whatever I'm having fun with. And I really like that blue of the sky.
Go for it.
I could make this a little darker so that in the context of things, it's not gonna stick out too much. This is light, so I'm gonna leave that light.
3:30. Thank you.
And this is going to be dark, but I'm gonna put some greens there, so I don't want to, mess that up too much. So I don't always start with the sky. A lot of people say, oh, do you put the sky in and then the mountains on top and then the water on top? And I don't. Most of the time, I'll start with the darkest thing. I'll start with this area. Kind of give it something to key off of. Maybe I'll just do that really quick. We can always change it later and then do the sky. So let's see, I think I'll get a little bit bigger brush. Use one this size. It's a 12.
Wow.
So how do we, I gotta go back to that other picture. Okay, we gotta remember this is the gorge big cloud page. And, okay, this is my gorge. So, I've got the dark, pretty dark, so I need to make a green. And I do use palette knives, especially the large painting, to make big piles of color. So, let's see, the green, I'm going to start with ultramarine and some cad yellow medium. And so that looks very green, but I don't want it to look too greeny, so I'm gonna put a little bit of that brown pink in there. And some more blue. That looks pretty good. I can make it lighter later. Let's see. I do have this kind of secret color. Williamsburg Veronese green. I just am very entertained by this color.
What was that again? Veronese green?
Yes. Veronese green, Williamsburg. It's kind of like you mix it with white and it turns into a turquoise. It just seems lively. It's kind of fun. So I've got this mixture here, and I'm gonna start with that. And I'm adding a little bit of gold ochre. You know, I didn't go over my colors. Would you all like for me to go over my colors?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. I don't know how well you can see them.
We
Can
can
you
see them.
okay? Okay, so I'm kind of trying to think in the way of a limited palette with little add-ons. So so it's a little bigger than a limited palette, but it's like I'm trying to stick with it with a limited palette in general, just for consistency, and so I don't get too crazy with colors. And so I have these other colors just to kind of add fun, add kind of life to it. So so I've got titanium white. This is really close to a titanium white. It's an old Holland color. It's called Brilliant Yellow Light. It helps me elevate the value of different things. Then I've got Cad Yellow Light, and this is Cad Yellow Medium, and this is Gamblin Gold Ochre. It's a little more colorful than yellow ochre. And that's let's see, and that is Indian yellow. And this is cadmium orange. And then this is a cadmium red light. and this is alizarin crimson, and then the brown pink, and this is ivory black that I use to make trees not scream green at you. You can actually take ivory black and mix it with yellow. It makes a very, very believable green. Oh, it looks almost identical to the green I mixed. So anyway, and then French ultramarine blue, French ultramarine blue light. I'm kind of out of it. Squeeze a little off there. And this is cobalt blue. And this is cerulean blue hue made by Utrecht. And I feel like that's the happiest blue I've ever seen. And we need happy these days, right?
Yes, we do.
Sure do.
And this is let's see. Okay, I hid it for myself. It's a Portland, I think it's called Portland Gray Light. It's a Galen color. And I use that for neutrals. It's like, it's very light and it's very neutral. It's kind of a purpley something or other. And it just helps me stay neutral. I can get too colorful. Then that's the Veronese green that we just added in there. So, okay, so now I'm going to do something for these trees. And I like to try to have an economy of brushstrokes, not get too, you know, too tied into overpainting. I'd rather underpaint it than overpaint it. So that looks really dark. And it may be too dark. I don't know yet. So now I'm going to have to put my dark back in to see if I can get it dark enough. Okay, that's pretty good. Might have to lighten that green some later, or maybe not. You can kind of micro adjust things later. But again, I'd rather paint too not enough than too much. If that makes any sense at all.
So you're thinning the paint a bit as you do this, or do you plan to go back over it with a heavier coat?
Let's see. I'm not sure I understand the question.
It looks like you're thinning the paint a bit before you put it on, the color.
Uh-huh.
Do you plan
Well,
to paint over it again, or is this the final coat?
this could be the final thing.
Okay, that was my
Could
question.
be, yeah. But but it might not be because I might need to make it lighter, but I'm not sure yet.
It almost looks like you're painting with watercolor
Yeah, that's what I was,
thinness and not so much of the oil thickness. Is that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I can come back later and get some really thick things on top. But you're right, it's not super thick.
Okay.
I have a feeling it's probably too dark, but I don't want to just like be super distracting and have it be too light. You know, I'm trying to get people to look here, not over here. So for now, I'm just gonna leave it like that. But that's looking pretty fun, I think, so far. Okay, so now since I've kind of got my darkest thing determined, I think I can try for the clouds. So I'm going to use some cobalt blue and some happy cerulean hue. Little tiny bit of white. A little bit of alizarin looks good in that. I don't want to over mix my colors. So can you see this mixture?
Yes.
Yes.
So what I'm trying to do is get a gradation like the sky, like we saw in the picture with the clouds on the palette. So going from dark up at the top all the way to kind of a turquoisey kind of light color right here. And I need a very clean brush to do this. And my mixture is looking, my mineral spirits is looking very murky, but I think it's okay.
Mhm.
I will have to use different mineral spirits when I do the white cloud. So I think I'll start with the light part, the lightest part. It's a little intense, but maybe a little more white. A little bit of this can tone it down a little bit because it's kind of a light orange and it mixes with the blue and makes it kind of a little bit neutralized. That looks better to me. See, what is my hill shape? Oh, that got dark on me. There we go. I need to see my hill shape, my mountain shape. Let's see. Whoops, it got dark again. Let's see, where am I? Okay, so now I want to start make that gradation happen. Maybe I should put the dark blue at the top and then kind of marry the two. So it don't need to be blue. So I'm going to put a little bit of orange in there, tone it down a little bit. Oh, let's get my clouds back. There we go. dark. Make it a little bit lighter, maybe. Okay, now that's great.
Oh, wow.
I like seeing brush strokes. So I'm still kind of thinking about that perspective. Let's see what happens here. I want those clouds to connect. Let's see. Too purple. So gotta think about the perspective. So now my mixture is crept this way, so I kind of have to push it back. Okay, now we need more of that light sky color so that we can make them meet in the middle.
What is your palette material? Is that glass or paper or what is it?
Oh, that's a great question. This is plexiglass,
Okay,
and then I put paper on top of it because I get tired of trying to clean it every time.
got it, got it.
So I just put paper palette.
Got
on
it. Okay. Thank
I
you.
heard that like oil painters, when they use the plexi, they put it in the freezer.
Yeah, you can do that. You can just put it in the refrigerator too.
I got
If you have an extra refrigerator. If you have a beer.
And it also looks, I've never painted on wood panels, so forgive me if this is everybody knows this, but when it looks like the wood panel is absorbing a lot of the paint. It doesn't, it looks like you're using a pretty thin mixture, but it doesn't seem like it runs. Is that making any sense?
Well,
Is it-
I'm trying to mix it, I guess, just the right consistency.
Okay,
So it doesn't run and it holds a brush stroke so you can see the brush stroke. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
yes,
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
Yes, it does.
So I think it's partly the gesso and it's also partly not making the mixture too thin or too thick.
Okay,
What kind of gesso do you use?
I'm using this right here. This is a small container of it, but I buy the big container, Liquitex Basics.
so it's an acrylic gesso. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
I've heard that gesso can really, what gesso you use can really affect how the paint attaches, right? In terms of absorbs or whatever.
That could be. I like this one. There are more expensive ones, but I like this one better.
Okay. Thank you.
Do you put one or two coats on?
I put on 2 or 3.
Okay,
So I don't know if you can see it, but my gesso strokes, they go off the panel. So I
Okay.
make them go all different directions because it gives me more texture when I'm finished.
okay. And do you sand it down after that?
The first coat you put on will raise the grain of the wood up a little bit, and so I think you'll like it better. You just give it a very thin, very light sand
Okay,
after the first coat, and then the second coat and the third coat. I just usually just put them on.
okay. Thank you very much.
And like if the strokes look like they're going this direction with the first coat, I'll make them go the other direction with the next coat.
Okay, thank you.
Because it looks more like a weave.
Okay,
It almost looks like linen to me
ah,
when you. Let's see. Okay, mixing light color, light value, super light value. That blue kind of brought it down. I'm going to bring it back up. I just had a tiny bit of the cadmium light in there, cadmium yellow light. And then bring in a little bit of the medium color. Because we're going to put that to make them come together. A little bit more happy blue. I sound like, what's his name, don't I? Happy trees.
Happy accidents?
there's nothing wrong with that.
Bob Ross.
Bob Ross, thank
Bob
you.
Ross, yes.
Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going for a sunny gorge day. So that's about, need to go a little bit lighter. That's better. Much better. Okay, so what do we do now? What next? I need darker there. So now let's see. We could put in the bottoms of the clouds, and then I think we'll move on to the water maybe after that. And then wait to do the white part of the clouds. So for the bottoms of the clouds, let's see. They have to be kind of a warmer gray. Sometimes this Portland gray is very helpful. Just a touch of cadmium red. One time I was taking a class at the Columbia Center for the Arts, and we decided to just paint clouds all winter so we could get ready to paint clouds when spring came. It was great. People didn't realize how hard clouds are. They were amazed. I thought, oh, I thought clouds would be easy.
They have a lot of color in them, more color than you think they do.
That's true. So I can put white on top of this or pull some color out if I feel like the gray is taking over.
When you do the white part of the clouds, do you think you'll be mixing some color in with the white?
Yeah, I use this lately. I've been using the Old Holland Brilliant Yellow Light for that because it's got some orange in it. You just need a little tiny bit of orange. And it's a convenience color. I could mix that up, but this is really close to what I need. Oh, that looks too much like that one. Okay, so I don't want to overpaint it. I'm just trying to get an indication in so that we can move on to the water. This brush is really soft. It's a watercolor brush. It can be helpful if you want to soften edges like that. Like if when we get our white going, it'll help to use something like this. So let's get our other picture back. Or there is this one too. Picture's crooked. That's kind of under a cloud right there though. But anyway. So the water needs to be really light because it's a sunny day. So I'm going to and the light water in this picture, it comes all the way kind of here. Kind of makes this interesting shape, I think. gonna pull it over here a little bit. And went a little high on that, but oh well. We can bring it back down when we put the land in. So I like following my lines of perspective. So I hope that gives you a feeling that you're kind of going back. Oh, that's kind of dark. That line's kind of hard right there. See what the watercolor brush does for it? Maybe it'll help it. Oh, I need some light on there. to. I've found that if I overcorrect my painting, often I'll be getting in the weeds with it, and I'll think, oh, can I have an undo? Can I go back? You know, like it's a computer. Hit undo. I liked it before. So even if I'm not 100% happy with something, sometimes I just leave it because I think, well, okay, I'll reevaluate later. Sometimes it's just not possible to evaluate the whole thing right in the moment. Of course, if you're doing plein air work, you just kind of have to live with what you got. At the time, which is you know, really kind of fun too. Okay, so kind of got that in. So now let's get some of this the hills in. I want to keep that Mitchell Point kind of light, so I might just do that right now, and so that I can work around it. See if I can get the right amount of orange and white. See how this looks. Needs a little bit more orange, maybe. Okay, let's see, some mountain colors. This one's very blue. I guess the other one was blue also. No, those are more kind of purple. I like them both. It's hard to decide what to do. So let's go for this land mass next. The value is much lighter than this, but it's much darker than this.
Hey guys, I gotta go. I gotta say, oil painters are amazing.
the way that you guys do things, I don't get it how it all comes together. Thank you very much. That is just really awesome. I love the definitions on your perspective.
All right. Well,
All
thank
right,
you.
bye guys.
Hi,
Thanks.
guys.
I know it's hard. It's like watching paint dry.
I'm fascinated because all this time when I was looking at your art, I was thinking you were using palette knives for those bold strokes, and I'm fascinated to see you do it with your brush. It's great.
Well, it helps to not over mix your colors. If you're over mixing your colors, it makes the brush strokes just disappear.
Yeah, I think I'm very guilty of that.
Well, I will be too. I have to consciously think, okay, that's enough. Don't stir anymore. No more stirring. It's surprising how little you have to mix to make it work. Let's see. I think. Let's see. Lower. More blue and little on the turn. Ooh, that's kind of dark. That's kind of interesting. Okay, that's close enough. Now we should get that little guy. Okay, that's enough for that one. So now we have to choose, do we go for these or do we go for that? In terms of value. I guess we should get this kind of sketched in. We'll put this right there. Green and yellow. Okay, that one's much lighter, so I'll just do some darks for this right now. It's kind of electric.
What's in that lighter green that you're mixing now?
It's kind of cad yellow light with ultramarine blue, but adding in some orange and that's kind of like the orange cadmium orange medium, and then that kind of really light orange to give me a value. This value over here is so light, and if I don't get this pretty light like that, it's just gonna look like all this stuff. So I have to get this value really light. Maybe I should add a little white. Indian yellow. A little Indian yellow. Be good. So I don't think that's really light enough, but it's getting there. Add some more. Maybe that would be better. There. That looks better. think we need some variety. Put a little orange in there. All different greens on that island. Orange greens, green greens, yellow greens. Let's see, back to a green green. Okay. Don't want to overdo it. So now the scary part. These mountains. They're so light. But they're obviously darker than the sky. So for me personally, that it's kind of hard. Kind of hard to get it right. Or to make it kind of believable. So I think the Portland gray is going to help.
Are you going to go for a purple tone or a blue tone for those distant ones?
Both. I think. Cadmium red and ultramarine blue make kind of a dull purple. Um, yeah, cadmium red and ultramarine blue make kind of a dull purple. Very neutral purple. And this is very light. So to me, my mixture over here, it looks kind of like the mountains there. So we'll have to put it on, see if it works. This mountain is more kind of purple and neutral to me, and this one comes forward a little bit more. The blues have a little bit of green in them. So we'll see. That looks a little dark to me, a little too dark. Okay, this looks better. Yeah, that looks better. Let's see, it gets kind of lighter down here. I'll start with this. Oh, that's too much blue. Oh, whoops, I bumped into Mitchell Point. Oh no. Mitchell Point, come back. Okay. Oh, too much orange. Okay. So this recedes even more. So I'm going to put more blue and light, very light in there too. And put it right next on my palette to my previous mixture so that I can gauge the color and the value. It's a little dirty. I'll come back and change it later. Mix it up a little bit. So now I can move on to the values and the colors and the shapes for this hill, mountain. So I kind of need two different kind of color situations there, value situations.
So
this needs to be-
Kathleen, excuse me. I just want to mention that I had the Zoom meeting set up until 6:30 and we're at 6:14. So I don't want it to clip off from the middle of what you're doing. Just letting you know.
Oh, okay. So so how many more minutes do you want?
15? 15?
All right. Well, I'm gonna. You want me to paint that part in or the clouds? We might not get it all in.
Yeah, I think the mountain's fine. That's what you want to do now.
Sure. So I think this value will work for these areas here, but I'll need to mix up something else for that part. That's a shape. Let's see. This is a shape. there. That goes across there. And connects to that one. So now just mix up the lighter value. It's got some green. Let's see. Very neutral. Very, very neutral. Let's see how this looks. Oh, kind of dark. So much darker than it looks on the palette. Okay, we'll give this a try. Wipe it off the brush. See how this looks. Oh, that's much better. Could still be too dark, but it's much better. I think this is closer to it. Okay, so that's basically that's kind of it for that part.
It's great.
Later, I can kind of refine it a little bit. How many minutes do we have left? 7.
Yes. When you work on finishing this, will you be doing anything different with the left front water?
I'll have to figure out exactly what I need to add in there. I think it's something darker. Maybe kind of the value and the color of the kind of the back side of the waves. Just a little bit darker there.
Mm-hmm. We'd love to see the finished painting when you finish it.
I'll definitely send you a picture.
Okay. This has just been so helpful to see you do your work.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it.